Okay, so here we have the Coros Apex Pro. I basically bought this around April time, so I've had it about 2 months, give or take. I've used it for a range of runs. I've also used it in the gym for both gym cardio and strength training. And obviously I've used it on a range of different runs. So I've used it on the run mode and the trail run mode as well. I've not used it on the track yet, but that's one of the biggest strengths of it. I've yet to use that though. So a quick overview of the usability of this watch. I'll show you how it kind of functions, and then I'll go through the biggest strengths and weaknesses of the watch. So yeah, so basically I've had this watch now for a few months. RRP's for $349. I got this off Amazon for that price, for $349. And yeah, it's the most expensive watch in terms of fitness running watch I've ever purchased. In the past, I've had Fitbits, and I had a Xiaomi Pace, which was a budget watch, but again that was really good for the price. But I really wanted to upgrade this year with my running taking kind of a step up. So I've kind of invested in this watch, and it's, to be fair, you do get a lot for the price of the watch. So Coros state you can get 30 days of battery life out of this, but actually in day-to-day usage, and I use it quite frequently, probably 3-4 times a week, I'm using GPS, and then as well I'm using the heart rate sensor for maybe another 3 hours a week as well on gym work or classes, etc., swimming. They say 30 days worth of real life use, but again that would be limited amount of GPS and or heart rate data. I tend to get probably 20 to 22 days, so still a ridiculously good battery life. I don't think there's a brand that can compete with Coros in terms of battery life. Garmin's obviously got a lot of software, etc., but in terms of the battery life they just can't compete. In terms of how long the batteries will go, maybe up to 7 to 10 days max. But like I said, Coros, I can definitely get 20 to 22 days out of this, and that's no matter how much I use it. I can run 3-4 times a week and swim. I can use it daily for GPS, and I'll still get a 22 days out of it, give or take. So the battery is phenomenal. It's probably one of the biggest strengths. It's obviously waterproof. I think it says it's 10 ATM, so it's 100 meters depth. It's got a heart rate monitor, GPS tracking. Obviously, it's got a barometric altimeter, so obviously it predicts altitude. You compare it with external sensors like most GPS watches. It has got route navigation, a full route navigation, not breadcrumb, full mapping, etc. And on a lot of sleep tracking. But yeah, so if I just quickly go through it. So this is the home screen. To unlock it, you use this central dial, like an Apple Watch. It's a rotating dial, so you rotate it once and it unlocks, as you just saw. And then this is the main first screen. Again, the watch faces are interchangeable. Once you scroll through the first one, that's sleep mode. Bring it a bit closer so you can get into focus. Sleep mode. So that was my sleep last night. Gives you REM, light sleep, deep sleep. I mean, how long you're awake. And if you click into each one, that one's not clickable actually. Some are, so the little white arrow on the right hand side shows you if it's clickable or not. That was my intervals this morning. It gives you a running performance, and then if you click into that one, it gives you your current race predictors. This is a Coros algorithm which predicts your maximum, obviously best times you could predict in terms of your current fitness level going off your current training, and then that gives you your same predictor but in minutes per K, which is what I work in Ks, and then back to and then obviously that tells you my recent running performance was 92%. If we go out of that one, the back button is the bottom one. That's my running performance page. Then you've got a fatigue page. So it basically tells you how tired you are at the moment, and then obviously it uses your base fitness, which is a score it gives you, and your load impact, which is the amount of work you're doing, and compares them to and gives you a fatigue score. Recovery, so obviously I run this morning, so I'm currently at 80%. I can train easily now, it says, but I need to wait 8 hours to do hard training. And if you click on that, it just gives you a bit of information. Basically tells you the same thing. So 8 hours before I can hard train, 18 hours till I'm fully recovered. Next page is my current stats. So I've burned 762 calories today, 10,000 steps. I've done 53 minutes of exercise, and and I've got to climb downstairs. It's kind of a daily overview page. That one is the heart rate. Obviously it's not scanning it right now because I've not got it on my wrist, but again, you click into it and then you can scroll back through the day and see. So if I go back to this morning, for example, it should have, so I went to this morning when I started running this morning, so yeah, about 6 o'clock-ish, there you go, my heart rate spiked because I went out about 6:30 and ran. So that's the heart rate page. Going back out of that, next page is my current altitude. I'm 36 meters above sea level, which is basically where I live in near Chester. That's kind of that's the barometric altimeter, which is basically the weather. I don't really know how this works in terms of, obviously the arrow at the top there, that basically gives you indication if the pressure is going up or down. I generally know that means storm, so if it's dipping down, it means weather's getting worse. If it's going up, it means pressure is obviously going up, which means the weather's getting better, i.e. sunnier. But other than that, I use a weather app. Basically, I don't get much out of this. I'm not like a mountaineer who gets to know what things mean. So that's probably one page I don't really use. That's skin temperature. So again, generally mine's around 27, 28 degrees C. Again, unless it's a hot day, I won't really use that page. And then that gives you basically an overview of sunrise, sunset, dawn and dusk. So again, that's useful for maybe winter run. I can see how long it's daylight for. Can I get out at 8 o'clock at night and it still be dusky or even sunsetty as a sunset before I get back. So that's the main pages as you go to scroll through. The top button is just a backlight. So again, backlights up, backlights off, backlights on. It's got a really good reflective screen. If it's in broad daylight or sunshine especially, you don't really need the backlight. It's only in maybe darker conditions you can press it to see. The bottom one is a back button. Again, if you're on the home screen as you are now, main screen, this just cycles through what you can see on your watch face. So the only other options, the only other bits I need to show you, if you long hold the back button, it takes you to like a setting screen. So again, this shows me my battery usage. We talked about that before, about 30 days. If I go into this now, I charged it today, but I only charge up to about 73%. I think it'll tell me on the next page. And it still thinks I've got 13 days of usage left. So I've got 67% left. It reckons I've got 13 days left of use. A maximum of 20 days, depending on obviously how much I use it, but it's estimating mine because obviously I use it GPS and heart rate quite regularly. Estimated GPS use left is 27 hours, so I could go out right now and do obviously a couple of the ridiculously long runs and it'll still be fine. So yeah, this morning I charged it to 76%, sorry. It's been nearly a day since I charged it. And then this shows you basically what to drain the battery, so the system is doing most of it. GPS workouts, so just today is 310%. My heart rate, obviously checking over the last 5 hours, just drained a very minor amount, and the backlight again, minor amount. I've had 24 notifications. So yeah, so as you can see, even from 76%, it still thinks I can get 13, 14 days of usage. From 100%, it's, like I said, about 21 days. So that's the, if I long hold that's the battery one. And obviously on this one you've got mapping, navigation, watch face, compass, do not disturb if you're in a meeting or you're sleeping. Ultramax, which is the extended GPS, which means the GPS only kicks in for 30 seconds every two minutes. So normal GPS mode, you get on a full battery, you get 40 hours of GPS, and the Ultramax you get 100 hours. So obviously you maybe lose a bit on accuracy if it's only kicking in every 30 seconds for 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes you kick in for 30 seconds. But it means you can do really long ultras and not worry about battery dying. Metronome, so you're working on cadence. This is a pretty good one, so you can set it for 175 and it'll just beep away on your wrist. I've not really used this yet. I tend to use music as my BPM and listen to that while I'm running. If I want to increase my cadence, I don't really use a metronome. Stopwatch, standard time, night mode, which again, if you turn that on, that's when you're running at night. It will keep the light on a very low setting constantly. So when you're running in the night and it's really dark, you don't have to keep tapping the backlight while you run. As I'm doing now even, it'll stay on constantly, so when you're running you can just glance down and the night mode will be lit, it'll be backlit, so then you can just see your stats while you're moving, running, exercising. Broadcast heart rate, satellite signal, which again you can choose, or it acquires the signal and tells you where you are, and map settings, again you can choose, do you want the map going up or down, what type of map I use, the hybrid, which is a combination of ordnance, and I forget the other one. But yeah, there's 2 settings in my I do hybrid, which is kind of the best of both. And then back to settings, current location, oximeter, which measures your blood oxygen levels. Find your phone. So again, if you lose your phone, it's Bluetooth. It's in Bluetooth range. It will beep. More is just camera control. So again, if you've got a compatible camera, you can control it off your watch. Again, I've never used that setting. And then so we've done battery. So if I quickly just go into maps again, that shows you my map. You might struggle to find GPS actually, but there you go. There's the maps already. You can scroll in and out to zoom in and out, as you can see. And then once you're on the map, you can drag your finger, and it's struggling inside to find the signal. But yeah, once it's fully loaded, you can drag around and touchscreen. So the touchscreen is limited. It only works on maps. And when you're actually exercising, so when you've got the exercise page up, you can scroll between the screens. I'll show you that in a minute. Other than that, it's not a touchscreen watch whatsoever. It doesn't work whatsoever if it's not on them 2 pages, basically. Is there anything else I need to show you? So no navigation. This is when you obviously through the app on your phone, you can plan and upload routes to your watch. So that's a trail run, another trail run, quite a long one. That one's a loop I'm going to be doing as part of a marathon, which is kind of an urban run, but again, I wanted to plan a 20k loop. And then that's another one. I've got canal route. That's a nice little circuit. And then another road-based run. Again, as a part of a marathon, I need to plan longer loops without having to go out and try and find extra bits of run to fill in. I want to go out and know I'm going to run 25k, etc. Back to the start. So yeah, you can upload via the app. You can upload routes via the navigation. So that's basically it. Obviously, watch face again. I think you can store up to 5 watches on the watch, and then there's a multitude of ones on the app. Which again, you can delete some of these off the watch and put up to 5 stored. So, and again, they're all the same colour, because once you pick a watch face, you then change the colour. So you can pick any. Obviously, these are the 5 I've got stored currently. But again, you pick one and then just change the colour of the watch, of the accents. So yeah, so that's basically the watch face. So that's that main section. So the main bit now is obviously not covered, is this main dial. You spin it to see the screens we've talked about earlier, but when you just press it in once, this gives you your main workout screen. So these are the range of activities you can do. So I've put them in order of which I generally use them. So run, trail run, swim, and bike are my main 4. Obviously then I go to the gym for strength and gym cardio. And then you've got other ones I use: track run, indoor run, walking. I don't need to read them all out. You can see there's a whole range of them. And then I've even hidden some, so you've got some more. There's ones I just normally wouldn't use. So there's a couple of mainly water-based ones and stuff, and snow-based. So I've hidden them because I don't need to scroll through them every time. On this, if you go to history, it will show you your history of workouts. So again, you can see the running, trail running, cycling, gym-based stuff. So you can see all your history on there. If you wanted to go into one, for example, let's just scroll back. So that's the warm up. There you go, 10k I did recently. If you click on that, then you can scroll down. It just gives you a recap of how it went, altitude, etc., the zones you're working in, heart rates, average power, and if you scroll, obviously elevation, loss and gain, cadence. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it'll give you your lap time. So if you get down to the laps, it'll just give you a breakdown of your laps. So it does have quite a bit of data on the watch. You can see even more on the app. I generally use the app rather than trying to scroll through this on the tiny little screen. So, but yeah, so as you see, you can see you've got a lot of different options. If I just quickly show you, say if run, if you wanted to go and run, it should pick up signal inside. The GPS is pretty good and is pretty quick. I won't be able to start it because obviously I've not got it on my wrist, so it won't generally start without heart rate. If I try and press start now, it says it's acquiring GPS. And then it will say the same. Once it acquires GPS, it will still say measuring heart rate, so please wait. I think you can override it. I never have done, so I generally wait for heart rate and GPS. There you go. It's just found GPS, that was the bleep. It'll bleep again when it finds heart rate, but it probably won't find heart rate because it's not on my wrist. But yeah, the GPS connects roughly like that in about 10 or 15 seconds maximum heart rate. Sometimes it takes a bit longer. It obviously takes forever today because it's not on my wrist, so it can't find the GPS. Can I override it? So if I overrode it, you can just start anyway. So just for the signal, just for the sake of this, we'll just show you. So this is when touchscreen kicks back in. So again, this is the way I've set it up, but again, you can have a multitude of options in terms of what you want to see. It's auto paused because I'm not moving. So again, after a couple of seconds, if you're not moving and it picks up you're not moving, it'll auto pause. But I just want to show you the screens. Basically, the way I've got it set up. So I've got distance and current pace and time at the bottom ticks away. That's my first screen. My second screen is heart rate, average pace and cadence. My third screen is last lap, pace, elevation gain, stride length. And then time of day, calories and training load. This is just my last page. But again, you can go either way, up or down, and it's the only other time that touchscreen comes into play. To pause or start, you just tap the thingy again, the dial. If you want to lap as you're running, press the bottom one, it lap times it. Press that as many times as you want. Backlight, you sometimes you can lap time again, and if you want to pause again, the center dial, and then if you want to finish, you just scroll down to finish and hold it for 3 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, and then obviously because it's been such a short one, you can either save it or delete it. Normally it doesn't ask you that. If it's longer than a minute, it wouldn't ask you that. It just saves it. But as it's been obviously just a test one, I'm going to delete it because I don't want that data. Back to that screen. It locks on pretty quick. I've never had any issues with it. Like I said, you've got a multitude of options to pick from. So overall, like I said, I'm kind of really happy. It's the most expensive watch I've ever had, but it does do an awful lot. I've used it a lot for swimming, and it even tracks heart rate whilst you're swimming, which again I think is fairly rare for a watch to track heart rate in water. It's really robust. It's titanium bezel. I think it's Gorilla Glass, like a second or third generation Gorilla Glass. So yeah, I have bashed it like everyone else does. It's on your wrist. You do clip off a few things, but the titanium and the glass is never really, as you can kind of see if I can bring it a bit closer, if I get into view, it still looks kind of pristine. I've had no issues with it. So titanium bezel still with it, still unblemished. So yeah, it's really robust. It's not very heavy. Battery life's really good. So just a quick, I don't want to go on for too long. So basically, just the major positives. The major positive is probably the battery life. It's got a lot of positives about it. It's robust. It's got a lot of sports options. It does a lot of things in terms of tracking of sleep and heart rate, altitude, blood oxygen. You can use it for obviously a range of different sports. But yeah, aside to the battery life is really, because I put this on charge and I'll basically go about my life for a week or two, and then I can start worrying about whether I need to charge it again. Whereas most of the watches, you're a couple of days in and you're probably worrying that, can you go out for a run? Can you, if you're going away, like I can go on holiday for 2 weeks and I don't even have to take my charger. Even if I'm going to do workouts whilst I'm abroad or away, it'll last at least 2 weeks every single time. So the battery is the major positive. Negatives, I've not really got many negatives. Probably, like I said, I've not really had an issue with it. Maybe some things on it you could probably try and hide. Like I said, I don't really use some things on this. So like this barometric altimeter, it just tells you what the pressure's like. I've no idea how to use that, nor have I got any use for it. There is other things on here that I haven't really used, and maybe get around to using it. But again, at the broadcast heart rate, I think you can broadcast that to, I just don't even know what that is. No idea. Again, don't need to use it. And some of the things I'm trying to think of the oximeter, again, the blood oxygen level, they're never that accurate on a watch anyway. I suppose if I'm a mountain climber, I'm probably criticising it because I don't do all the things but other people, if they're going to use this for snowboarding, mountaineering, and they're going out on water and potentially in more hazardous conditions, maybe some of these things are really useful. I can't really criticise it for having it just because I don't use it. But yeah, there's not a major negative. Maybe the cost, again, I could turn and say this is an expensive watch. It is. But again, I looked at other options. I looked at the Garmin's, the 245, the 945, and the 7s. So yeah, so I looked at these other options. In terms of comparable watches, I looked at Sun 2s, I looked at Garmin, but I ended up settling on Coros just because, again, this is Polo. I looked at Polo as well. They're all very similar. They're all quite expensive, especially the top of the range ones. But this just stands out in terms of what I wanted it to do. It had really good a running focus. Again, I'm going to try and use the track more, and the track mode is apparently one of the party pieces of the Coros that it's got an algorithm in it that it after a couple of warm-up laps it figures out the lap, and then the accuracy of the lap timing is even better than any other comparable watch. So Garmin sometimes has jiggly lines around a track, whereas the Coros is the most accurate tracking I think there is. But the battery solid for me, I'm never one for a poor battery. It's just a frustrating thing to have on electronic devices. The battery's really poor. So but yeah, comparable to the other, which is why I picked it. I had basically the pick of anything. I was investing in a nice watch. I wanted to pick the best, and this is the best for me. Would I ever get a Garmin? Potentially, but again, I think I like Coros. They say the ecosystem and the Garmin's are better, but again, I don't want to go into too much detail, but the Coros app is improving all the time. It gives you a ridiculous amount of data if you want to nerd out on stats and stuff. I like looking at stats, and the training hub on Coros gives you everything you possibly need in terms of data and stats and progress, etc. The phone app is really good, nice and clean and simple. I'll try and put some shots of that on over the top of this. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with it. A lot of strengths, very minor weaknesses. Yes, it's an expensive watch, but again, there's other options. There's the Coros Apex, not the Pro, which again is very similar. You don't get maps, or maybe you do get net maps now. That's the other benefit of Coros. They constantly upgrade stuff and push software onto older watches or the lesser watches, and you get the benefits. So I think they do get maps now, but yeah, there is some other minor negatives. In terms of the cheaper ones, obviously there's some things you miss out on. I decided I was investing in it. I wanted to get the best. I got the best Coros watch at the time, which is this one. But yeah, overall I'm really happy. I use it on a daily basis. It doesn't leave my wrist unless I'm having a shower. And again, I could have it on for the shower, just generally take it off the charge, or just leave it on the side. But yeah, I'm currently in my first marathon training block. I wanted to make sure I had a watch that did everything I needed, didn't fail me, and can stand up to everything I ask it to do. So this is it. Drop it in the comments if you've worn Coros, if you've got a preferable brand which is an alternative, i.e. Garmin or Sun2 or Polar or any other brand. Again, I've used Fitbits in the past and progressed onto other watches. I'm glad I've stuck with it. I'm glad I've picked this. I probably would stick with Coros in the future, unless Garmin dramatically improve the battery life. I can't see me switching to one of the other brands. But yeah, drop it in the comments if you've got a preference of a brand and why. Which watches do you wear and why? But yeah, let's get a debate going in terms of what are the best running watches, sport watches out there. But yeah, that's just a quick review of the Coros Apex Pro. I'll continue using it. I'll be using it for every single one of my runs. It's my only watch I've got. But yeah, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I said follow along with my training block. My marathon is in October. Obviously, I've just started the training block now, and but yeah, follow along, see how I get on, and appreciate your time for watching. See you on the next one.